Good morning, actually, good afternoon now, everybody here in the Central Time Zone, and already good afternoon to everybody on the Eastern Time Zone, which I know is where you are. How's everybody doing? We are here. It is another interview for our World Autoinflammatory Awareness Month interview series. Today is PFAPA Day. PFAPA is a disease that affects children mostly. There are some rare cases where it presents in adults, but we are here with Marisa. She is a mother of an 11-year-old with PFAPA, and we wanted to get to know a little bit about their journey and how they've been navigating this medical maze throughout his life. So, Marisa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's the weather's starting to change, which I really like.
Yeah, we're still sunny and hot
Well,
down
yeah,
here in
you're in
Florida,
Florida, so
but
it's
it's 80s now instead of 95 and 100% humidity.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I lived in Florida for a better part of 7 years, so I understand.
Yep,
I
yep.
do. But so, why don't you first tell us a bit about your son?
My son's name is Logan. He's 11 now, and he is a thriving, you know, young man. He plays baseball and
Awesome.
swims and is a black belt in karate, and
Wow.
Um, so he's pretty active. Loves Legos, loves all the superheroes that I see behind you, and he's just an awesome kid. He's a comedian, and he's really fun to be around. But we struggled with FAPFA for the first 2 years of his life, pretty heavily. So um,
So it presented pretty quickly then.
yeah, he was just a typical newborn infant. I would say that things started presenting around 4 months, but I didn't really start seeing a pattern until a little bit later. He was our first child. So new mom, new dad, you know, totally new to this world of parenting and assuming that here we are with a virus and another virus and just normal kid baby things, I guess. And we kind of started to see a little bit of a pattern. But really, at 6 months, it kicked off into full swing, where we started seeing really high fevers, about 103 to 105. I think 105.3 was our highest, which was really scary.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so, when things first started presenting like that, you know, you just went, I'm guessing, to your pediatrician first and tried to
Yeah,
figure things out.
the first time it happened, we did exactly what you would expect to do. We went to our pediatrician. They said it's probably something viral, you know, Tylenol, Motrin, treat it at home, lukewarm baths, that kind of thing, and um, it'll be fine. And then when we had our first really high fever, which to us was 103. I didn't know at the time that the ER wasn't going to let us in at 103. They sent us right home and said 103. No, that's not high enough. 104, we'll admit you. Yeah. So we went back to the pediatrician for that one, and he was really dismissive. It was kind of my first introduction into medical gaslighting. I really was kind of shocked by it because, as a new mom, you're terrified and you expect your pediatrician to give you answers. And he had no answers. He did do a urinalysis to make sure it wasn't some kind of bladder infection. And same thing, went home, Motrin, Tylenol, it was gone in 5 days. But those first few, he everyone kind of just was like, it's just viral. It's
Yeah.
it's just a cold, it's normal. You're bringing it home from the dance studio. You're around kids all day long. Your husband travels out of the country. He's bringing it home from the airport or from the other countries. You know, you guys are immune to it by now, and you're just passing it on to your kids
Mm.
or to your son. And okay, in the beginning, we were like, oh, maybe that's what it is because we didn't know any better. Um, and this was kind of the beginning stages of Instagram.
Mm.
Uh, and so I love social media. It's to connect with people. I don't
Yeah.
know. And I was posting, oh, hey, we're fever again. We're watching Frozen for the millionth time.
Let it
You
go.
know, let it go. Here we are sitting on the couch with my 6-month-old baby
Oh,
who, is just miserable with a
yeah.
fever. And each month I would here we are again watching movies at 2 in the morning with another fever. And I had a friend reach out. She said, I noticed on your Instagram that your son is sick a lot. And it seems to be like every few weeks, right? And we were chatting back and forth about it. And she said, why don't you join this Facebook group called PFAPA Awareness? And why don't you see if any of his symptoms are similar to some of the other people in this group? So that I had never considered that it was something more than
Sure.
what it was. I mean, my my pediatrician even tried to tell me that it was teething.
Oh my.
103 fever is teething. And I
Wow.
was like, that doesn't that doesn't sound right to me. So I started kind of diving into this world of autoinflammatory diseases. And of course, it takes you down all kinds of scary rabbit holes with there's so many that are much more serious um, than others. And so we started down, or I started down this rabbit hole, and my husband was really super supportive of everything. He said, I trust you. Whatever you want to do with this, let's just figure it out. And I took it to my pediatrician, and he kind of went, that's pretty rare. Um, it's, I mean, I don't. They grow out of it. I've never really heard of it before. It was very very much a that's probably not it
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And I finally we got to the 9 month mark, and I had some friends that had infants that were babies that were the same age. Their kids were walking. Some of them were running at 9, 10 months, and here we are at 9, 10 months, barely crawling. I don't even think he was crawling at that time.
Oh my.
Um, actually, I don't think he crawled until 11 months because every fever would set him back. He would gain some muscle, and then he'd get a fever, and then we'd be bedridden or couch ridden for 5 days, 7 days. 10 days was the longest.
Oh
That one
my.
was rough. Um, but at least 5 days. And 5 days in an adult, eh, you feel icky afterwards, but that's not going to set you back physically. But 5 days for a baby is going to set them back physically significantly. So at 9 months, when he wasn't hitting those milestones, and 10 months and 11 months, we're hardly crawling, we're not standing up on things. I started um, fighting. I started to fight back. And so I went to my pediatrician and I said, I want a referral. We had an HMO at the time, so we had to do the whole referral process. He did not want to give me a referral. And I demanded it. I said, you're fired. Give me the referral, and I'm going to find a new pediatrician. Actually, I think I got the referral first and then I fired him. But I said, I want an ENT referral. And I knew exactly who I wanted to go to. The guy was well known in our area, amazing. Um, and I went to an appointment with him. I said, this is what I think it is. And he took one look at my son's tonsils that were at the time, we were not in a flare.
Mm.
They were kissing. He was like technically healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and his tonsils were kissing in the back of his throat. He said,
Mm.
I believe you. It was the first time, and I like started crying in his office because it was the first time
Oh.
a medical professional trusted like my mother's intuition, you know, and because I just knew it was so much more than what I was being told. We had done blood draws at this point. We had done um, yeah, we had done probably 4 or 5 blood draws, which anyone who's ever had to do a blood draw on a baby, it is
Oh
not fun.
gosh, no.
Um, and thankfully, there was a man at I think it was Quest at the time who was just he was incredible with little kids. But still,
Yeah,
you know
you don't want to put a baby
you don't want
through
to do
that.
that to your
No.
your poor child. And every time it would come back, like, oh, white blood cells slightly elevated, but everything else looks fine, you know. But I just kept getting pushed back. But as soon as I went to the ENT, he said, "Nope, I believe you. I'm going to send you to Chalk Hospital in Orange County, California, because we lived in California at the time."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry,
No,
left
you're
that part
good. Well, because he's
out.
in Orange County, Florida as well, so that's what.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So we went to Chalk Hospital, which actually personally I'm an alumni of,
Okay.
thankfully. But we went to Chalk Hospital. He sent us to an infectious disease doctor, which sounds horribly scary. But
Yeah, at the
I guess
time, sure.
at the time, I had never even heard of that. I just assumed that was something like, I don't know, crazy like Ebola or something, you know. But so we went to the infectious disease doctor. I think it was Dr. Singh that we went to at Chalk Hospital, and she was incredible. She listened to all of us, and she said, "Okay, here's the plan. We're at maybe 17 months, no, 16 months now. Okay,
Okay.
16 months old. This because everything took forever from point to
Oh
point A
yeah.
to um yeah, so she said, I want you to start a journal. I want you to write every single thing down. This journal is only for him and only for his flares. I want you to write every single thing down that from the weather, the time of day, um, you know, what he ate, what he was wearing, what the allergies were like outside. Did you have an event that you went to? Did you go to a party? She's like, I want you to write down every single thing. Was he around other children? Did anybody else get sick? And that was a huge, that one I had not even considered at the time.
Yeah.
Did anybody else get sick? And so I was like furiously journaling like crazy, every single thing. And she said, I want you to start to look for patterns. Look at the dates, circle them on the calendar, look for patterns. If these patterns show up, then we likely have an idea of what it could be. And she said, in the meantime, we're going to do some genetic testing, which at the time, I think the genetic testing they do now, I think has 400 some
Yeah.
things that they test for. At the time, it was like 28.
Oh
So
wow.
this is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So she said, if it comes back negative, that's best case scenario. If it comes back negative and you have this journal with all these patterns, it's PFAPA.
Hmm.
Okay. We'll diagnose it. We'll do the tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy, and we'll call it a day and see if that works. And let's start there. She said your other option is prednisone for every flare, which we had done once when it was really bad, and I
Hmm.
didn't. He had croup, I think, but I I know prednisone, it's a steroid, and you
Hmm.
don't want to be on a steroid forever
No.
if you can, avoid it. So I didn't want to go down that road. I wanted to try to find another method. Um, and the tonsillectomy would be kind of the end goal if we
Hmm.
could make this, if we could see these patterns. Um, I was worried about the familial Mediterranean fever syndrome,
Yep.
just because my family, um, both sides of our families come from Italy.
Oh, okay.
Italy.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, maybe that could be it, but that did come back negative on our genetic testing. So everything came back negative months later. Meanwhile, we had to start occupational therapy because at 17 and a half months old, he was still not walking. So now we're 1.5 years old, not walking. He didn't start crawling until about 11 months. So every fever was setting him back so much
Hmm.
that we started doing occupational therapy, which helped him a lot. Um, all of his fine motor skills were phenomenal because he could do all that with being sick. All the playing with little things, that was all
Mm-hmm.
fine. His speech was fine. Everything else was right on target, but the gross motor skills were so delayed. Um, so we did that in the meantime, and when we got our genetic testing back that it was negative, we were able to schedule the tonsillectomy and the adenoids, and so we went on to that.
How old was he when he had that done?
That was 22 months.
Wow.
So from start to finish, we started at 6 months. At 22 months, we finally were able to like have an end to it, I guess. Um, Concrete answers, and he did not have a flare after his surgery. Um,
So he's still been flare free since then.
he has been flare free. There are some things that I notice that he does still struggle with inflammation. So
Mm-hmm.
if he is in stressful situations, stressful meaning, it could be school,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a big party, holiday, like
Yeah,
I
good
know
stress, bad
I noticed
stress, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
good stress, bad stress, it doesn't matter. So I notice a lot of times between Halloween to Christmas is when I'll see his inflammation kind of ramp up.
Mm,
Um, During this, the when he was a baby was kind of my first experience with
okay.
holistic practices. I've always been, for me myself, I've always been like a little bit of mix of both because I am a ballet dancer. I teach ballet, and
Okay.
so acupuncture and chiropractic and all that kind of stuff was always a part of my healing, along with regular medical
Mm-hmm.
healing, Western, Eastern, both of it.
Sure.
But with child, I never really thought of it. So I did, while we were getting all of our genetic testing and all the journaling and all of that stuff, I did start on a paleo diet with him, which at the time was kind of all the
Interesting.
rage. But it's supposed to be an anti-inflammatory diet. I tried to just bring down. That's
I'm gonna mute while you talk.
fine. And just tell me if you need me to slow down. Um, so I started on a paleo diet for him, which is supposed to be anti-inflammatory. It was really popular back then at the time. And so we did we did that. We did the tart cherry juice with him, which is supposed to help with
Mm-hmm.
inflammation. Um, we just tried to bring things down naturally as much as possible with ice pops and keeping his foods really natural and not a lot of processed foods. And I did notice while he still flared, it didn't cure the flares. It lessened them significantly. So the flares where I would be really diligent about his diet and his sleep and his schedule, uh, they would be much less. And the flares that he had when I wasn't diligent about it, they would be longer and higher. So it was an interesting pattern to watch. So now that he's 11, um, when I do see the inflammation kind of kick back up, I put into practice some of um, those things. I have noticed that certain food dyes affect him much more than anybody else in our family. I have a 9-year-old daughter as well who's almost completely unaffected by food dyes, and my son gets fevers from blue food dye, which is so random, or maybe it's not so random, but
uh,
maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe I'm looking for it,
so
but every
that's
time he has.
it's interesting because I have a blood deficiency called G6PD deficiency, and one of the things you're supposed to avoid is blue dyes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So, blueberries, anything blue really. But anyway, we can talk about that later. um,
Uh,
but yeah, that's and also let me add that with auto-inflammatory, a lot of times there are things that come with it besides just the auto-inflammatory. So, And I
Yeah.
don't know with PFAPA. Obviously, I'm not the medical expert. I'm just the lifestyle expert, essentially. We'll call it. Uh, but I'm hoping that being the fact that he's been flare free and that he is very active is really really a great sign.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
I don't
fantastic.
think he even had a fever until he was maybe 9. Like from the time he had his
That's
surgery until
great.
he was 9, he did not have a single fever. And like the first time he had one, it's like, what do I do? I don't even remember.
Now, was that fever PFAPA related or was
No, it
it?
was just a normal like kid
Oh,
sickness
good.
fever. Yeah. He does seem to, I don't know if it's a flare or if it's seasonal. He does now have seasonal asthma.
Oh.
And he does tend to get fevers during the fall months that seem to be maybe inflammation related, because I know last year he missed an entire week of school, like from Friday to missed the whole next week and went back to school Monday,
Wow.
missed a
Mm-hmm.
full
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
And again, nobody else got sick in the house. And so I started kind of, are we headed down this route again? And I have heard that it can be re-triggered during puberty. He's a
Mm.
preteen. So we're hopeful that it's not coming back. That would be unfortunate, but at least we know how to deal with it now.
Yeah, that's the big key is being able to know how to deal with it. And I think, like you said, social media is fantastic. You can connect with people who have dealt with it, and they can help you and guide you and give you advice, on what they did, and that maybe can help others. And so,
That that Facebook group was invaluable to me. I mean, I don't think I ever would have had the confidence to go in to the doctor initially if I had not been introduced to that group by a friend of mine. And that was because of social media. It was all because of a post of Elsa singing Let It Go. And her just recognizing her own daughter's patterns were mimicking my son's patterns, and feeling like she could reach out to me and just say, hey, maybe look into this. And so for me, sometimes I hesitate to share because it was so long ago. It's not a terminal diagnosis, so sometimes you feel guilty sharing because it's something you can manage. It's not something so it sometimes it feels weird sharing our story, but I have had so many people over the years randomly reach out. Hey, I saw your post. You did a hashtag PFAPA, and can you help? Can you just lead me on where to even start
perfect.
looking? You know, People from all over the world, people from within my family circle, somebody's bosses, cousins, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's been, I guess, validating to our experience because in the moment it was so lonely. You're a new mom, a new dad with this little tiny baby, and all these people around you are telling you that it's not real, and it does get lonely in that initial fight, until you really can stand up for yourself and demand answers. It was probably one of the most growing experiences of my whole life. So
And so it sounds like your message to people is stand up for yourself and
absolutely,
you know
100%. it, moms mom Moms have an innate gut feeling when things are off with their kids. And yes, medical professionals are trained and they go to a lot of school, but nobody knows your kid like you. Nobody knows your child the way a parent does. And you have to fight for that no matter what.
Yeah, especially because diseases like these, yeah, sure, they've been to school, but they maybe read a paragraph about these diseases
Exactly.
in that school. And so, like you said, that mother's intuition is what drove you, and you turned out to be correct, and it happens so often, misdiagnoses, medical gaslighting. It's such a complicated, crazy
Well,
world out there.
they're trained. They're trained. If it sounds like a horse, it's a horse.
Yeah,
But we're a zebra. We're a unicorn. We're not the horse. you know.
yeah,
So
think outside the box.
yeah, it's
So, and like you said, the groups, social media, folks, if you have a kid struggling with these kind of patterns, and for Logan, it was what, every 3 weeks, would you say?
Logan was Logan was every 28 days on the dot.
28. Wow.
Yep. Every 28. I mean, I could circle it on a calendar. And if we had an event coming up, I would just let the person know ahead of time. Probably not going to make it. Logan's going to have a fever. Well, how do you know this far in advance? Because it's 28 days. And then lo and behold, that like within 24 hours of that day, he would have a fever. And it was like clockwork, and it would come on so fast. He would be totally fine playing, running around, and then I'd look at him and it was like just the color in his face gone, and you could almost see the fever coming. It would like his cheeks would get all rosy, and then I'd take his temperature and it would go from regular 98.7 to 102 in minutes. Not it wasn't that slow creep of a
Yeah,
flu, or I'm 99, I'm 100, now I'm 102. It was normal, zero to hero, normal to 104 in minutes, and
that's scary.
it's really scary.
So,
We thankfully never had any of the febrile seizures. That was always really terrifying to me. I'm very, very blessed that he never had any of those. But yeah, that 105 was rough. That was really scary. That one they did admit us.
yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so.
And we would go. I think we went to the ER 6 times, and we were, they would always make sure he was okay.
Sure.
But their policy, usually it's like 104, I think, is where they admit you.
It's
So
crazy they have a number for that of
yeah,
what's. But it sounds like you said, so he plays baseball now.
plays baseball now.
What position?
He's kind of, I guess they call him a utility
Yep.
player. He kind of
Yep.
plays wherever.
Cool.
And he's center field, second base, kind of whatever.
He have aspirations to play beyond high school.
Oh, who knows? It's fun. He loves it.
Good.
He loves the sport, and he's one of those kids that's just kind of like the spirit of the team.
Fantastic.
He's a great teammate. He kind of gets everybody excited, and he's a truly a wonderful kid. We're pretty lucky.
That's awesome. Now, the last question I have is how much does he understand about PFAPA and his disease and what he dealt with as a baby?
So because I'm so open about it, we do. I mean, he hears us talk about it. We've talked about it with him. This last fall, when he had that, he was sick
Mm-hmm.
for a full week. We noticed that he was starting to develop a facial tic as well because his inflammation was so high. I can just see it in him. His demeanor changes. His personality changes. He's less excited about things. He's less energetic, I guess. And I started noticing he was getting a little bit of a facial tick as well. And so we hit our holistic practices really hard for
Hmm.
about a month. We went fully dye free, organic as much as humanly possible, no processed food. We cut out anything that was, um, processed anything.
Hmm.
And um, we did some salt room therapy and
Interesting.
a lot of time in the ocean.
Oh, cool.
We just I added in fulvic humic acid, which is a powder, and that was really helpful. We
Hmm.
started doing these phototherapy patches. Um, I mean, we really hit it hard, and it was able to bring it back down. So he was like, I showed him the videos of what his face was doing, and he had no idea. And he said, "All right, I trust you. Let's do it. Let's, you know." So
Awesome.
he's a good patient. He understands. He doesn't let it hinder him.
Good.
He could use it as a crutch, as an excuse,
Yep.
like, oh, my legs hurt, or I might be having a flare. He could, because he knows enough about it, but he he doesn't let it.
That's
So
good.
yeah,
That's good.
yep,
So yeah, so I think it's great that he's active now. It sounds like he's on his way to a nice, healthy life now, which with a few things he has to worry about, which, you know, it sounds like that you've prepared him for that though very well, which is awesome. And
yeah,
that is a very big important thing for a lot of these kids is having parents like yourself and your husband who are making sure that they are going to have productive adult lives as well, and make sure they're prepared for any kind of obstacles and roadblocks that their health may present to them. But
yeah,
that's great that you kind of have that routine with doing the holistic thing. Which, let me just mention to anybody watching, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the other person. So,
absolutely,
try it, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, try something else. Diet isn't a proven thing to cure auto-inflammatory. It's just it can help for some people. It all depends on your DNA makeup,
yeah.
unfortunately.
I,
So
I think being willing to be open, if he started flaring again and we had to do what's the medication that is it
colchicine.
colchicine. If he started flaring again and that was the thing that was gonna, you know, give him the best value of life, absolutely we would consider it. Um, but we have found that a mix of both sides gives us um, best quality of life for him. You know.
It's good. Fantastic. Any other messages for mothers or parents that
Um, if you're in the thick of it, talk about it, even if people don't want to hear about it, because it's lonely and misunderstood, and people will think that you're ditching out because you don't want to be at things, and really and truly, you're just trying to protect your babies. But find people who will advocate for you and find people who will stand by you, even when it feels, I don't know, like you're alone in it. You're not. Reach out to people on social media. They will be your rock, your support, they will help you answer questions that might seem silly to you in the moment, but we've all been through it. So it's such a huge support group, in the different Facebook groups, and the hashtags on social media are such a great way to just find your people, find your tribe, and you will find a way through it.
Well, and then as she's saying that, I put the link to the Facebook group support PFAPA support group is below us, so people can see that there, and it'll be in the description of the video on YouTube as well. So people will be able to go right there after watching this if they feel like that their child is possibly dealing with PFAPA. So Marissa, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy, and I hope Logan continues to stay healthy and continues to enjoy baseball and life and teenagehood.
Thank you for bringing awareness to this.
Of course, it's my pleasure. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we will be actually back for another interview series later today at 4 p.m. Central. So please come and check out my interview with another PFAPA mother. So, and then obviously make sure you go check out the GoFundMe and donate to FMF and AID Global Association so that we can continue to do things like this and fund the groups and help patients all over the world. So, thank you, everybody. Take care.